Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to go over the group and ungroup functions within Excel. The grouping function is super helpful as it will allow you to open, maximize, or minimize the amount of data that you have available and visible. So for example, using the data that we have on screen, let's go ahead and group some of the rows so that we can only see the subtotal and total view. The first step that we want to do is select the rows that we want to group together. One thing to keep in mind is that you cannot group multiple groups of data at the same time. What you can do is then group them each individually. So for example, I want to group rows 2 to 7, as well as 9 to 12, 14 to 17, and 19 to 20. But I can't just select all of them together and group automatically. What we can do instead is select the rows that are next to each other, so 2 to 7, and group these together first. So up on our ribbon, let's go to our Data tab, hit the Group button here, and it will automatically group our rows. Instead, if I had clicked this drop-down menu, I could also just click Group here. The one thing to know though is because that this table is so nicely outlined, what we could do is automatically auto-outline. Let's click our table, go here, auto-outline, and it will automatically select the table and group together the subtotals within our table. And if I click this minus button here, it will minimize the data that we can see in our table for Q1. And all we see is now the subtotal line. I can also do this here and here and here. And what we're left with is just a subtotal line. Now, if I want to show all the details again, all I have to do is press the plus sign and press the plus sign here, 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 and here. Now, there is a shortcut instead of manually clicking every single button. You can simply come up to these numbers here. 1 represents the biggest group, so that is our full total. If I just clicked 1, I will only see level 1. Level 2 is our subtotals, and level 3 is our details. So if I only want to show all the subtotals, instead of manually clicking the minus signs every single time, I can just press the 2. Now to remove all of the groupings, what we can do is also go to our Ungroup button here, and we can also clear the outline. So this will clear everything within our worksheet. What if our table is not as clean and neatly prepared as the table that I have on screen? We can manually add the groupings using our grouping function. So we can select the rows that we want to group together and group them individually. So we can group, come here, group, come here, group, and here, and group. What if I didn't select the rows? Let's say I only have my cursor in one singular cell. If I hit the group, this pop-up box comes up and is asking us, are we grouping our rows or are we grouping our columns? So for this instance, I want to group our rows. Let's say OK. And you'll see down here, it's actually only grouped row 19. If I want to add row 20 to our grouping with 19, all I have to do is simply go to row 20, hit the group button again, say that it's the row that I want to group, press OK, and that comes grouped with row 19 because they are next to each other. Without using the outline button, we also have the option to come here, and up here you will see there is a plus and a minus. Plus means you can expand your details, and the minus means that you're hiding your details, so minimizing the details. Let's go to minus, and because my cursor is here, we're minusing the Q3 totals. We're going to come here, minus, come here, minus. If I want to expand, all I have to do is press the plus sign. Now, all of this can be applied to your columns as well, and not just your rows. So you can have just row groupings, you can have just column groupings, you can also have both at the same time. So let's say we no longer want to see the salesperson, sometimes we want to hide it. So we can select this column, group, and that will apply a grouping to our columns as well. If I click this button, we can hide the salesperson, and I can also only show the subtotals for our quarters. And with that, maybe I only want to look at the quarter 1. Here, you'll see that we've modified the view so that you no longer can see the salesperson, and you can only see the detail for our first quarter. It may be useful if you don't want to show certain elements of your data, and when you're printing your information, or your table, you'll be able to select the option to print only what is visible. So instead of deleting rows and columns specifically for a printed outline, you could also do this. You're now able to group, ungroup, and create subtotal and outlines for your data and your table. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.